Hello everyone, welcome to the session of the Tableau interview question and answers. In this session, basically, we are going to cover frequently asked questions, which usually people ask in the Tableau interviews, right? So let's start. So before moving to this training session, I just basically want to tell you what is Tableau. So Tableau is a leading BI tool, which is basically used for creation of reports, various kind of, and it is getting used by top leaders of the industry, right? Now, okay. So what's Tableau? The answer is Tableau is the powerful and fastest visualization tool that is used in the BI industry. It simplifies the raw data into an understanding format. Analysis of the data becomes faster with the Tableau. So today, the data is huge in all the industry. Either it's a pharma, either it's a telecom industry, either it's a FMCG, anywhere. So everywhere there is a data. So wherever there is a data, there is a need of creation of the reports. Previously, the people were creating reports with the help of Microsoft Excel and other stuffs, but then the BI tools came to the picture. There are many BI tools, and like Power BI is there, Tableau is there, Spotfire is there. I explored many of them, but what I feel Tableau is one of the best as a it's very user friendly. It's easy to use, it's easy to deploy. Yeah, that's the thing. Uh, okay, what is data visualization? Basically, it's a graphical representation of the data or information, maybe in the form of a bar chart, bar graphs, the pie chart, the scatter plot. So it depends on the requirement shared by the customer or the user, in what form they want to see their data, or what is the best way to represent any data. Before moving to the next part, so basically, it totally depends on the data structure, in what form we want to showcase the data. Suppose we have a profit sales ratio, something like that, so we can use a scatter plot kind of stuff. Before moving forward to the next slide, I just want to give you a brief tool intro, how it looks, what are the things which are there. So basically, this is a Tableau desktop, where we usually create all the reports. So whenever we are opening the Tableau desktop, we are getting these options over here. So this is a connect option. Tableau provides facility to connect with the flat files in the sense key there are Excel files, CSV files, JSON files, PDF files, special files. Special files are nothing but the files which contains lat and longs, graphical representation of maps, statistical file also. Apart from these, we can connect to n number of data source over here. Approx 50 to 60 connections we have, which are pre-built by Tableau. So there is no requirement to install any third-party drivers to connect with any of these. I think it covers all the DBs which we have. Still, if anything is missing over here, we can always use ODBC or JDBC connectivity. This is the thing. I will simply select sample superstore data, which is basically by default installed in the Tableau. So once I'm clicking over here, it will redirect me to this page. Just trying to execute the query. So this is the sample store data which is giving. So it always divides the data into two parts. One is the dimensions and one is the measure. Always remember. So let's come back to the data part. How it stores the data. Let me remove this first. This is a little bit advanced thing. I will try to cover this in a later PPT maybe. So suppose we connected with the Excel file that is sample superstore. In the Excel file, like there are multiple tabs. One is order, one is people, one is returns. So we just drag these orders over here, and it is showing all the metadata information. Also a data preview. So it's showing the metadata information. It's the data preview. We have two type of connection basically in the Tableau. One is live and one is extract. So live basically tells ki your Tableau desktop is directly connected with the DB. There is no snapshot of the data. So whatever speed of your database is, the same speed will be there of your Tableau desktop. But in case you want to work offline, means you don't want to get connected with your DB, you can always go for the extract mode. It is the fastest way. So what it will do, it will take a snapshot of the data and it is stored in the local repository of your system, and it works pretty much faster, approx 10 times or 20 times of the live connection. Once you click on that, it will store your hyper file. So whenever you are creating any extract, it will automatically create a .hyper file in your local memory. And once we will click, it will start creating the extract, and yes, it's created. Now, whatever columns were there in the table orders, it are reflecting over here. Let's move to the PPT again. So yeah, so this is basically a small demo of how Tableau tool looks like. So as I already told you in the initial phase, whenever we are creating any extract, it is stored .hyper file in the local repository. The same way there are multiple extensions of the Tableau. The first one is .twb. What it basically do, it will, whenever you are creating any report and you are trying to save that file, so you have these many options to save that file. So the first one is .twb. It is a Tableau workbook, means whatever charts, whatever graph, whatever sheets which you create in the Tableau, you can store it over there. But this twb doesn't contain the data source. It's excluding the data source. So whenever you are saving any Tableau workbook, you always need to save in .twbx format, because it's a packaged workbook. Means it contains everything, the metadata, the data source, the sheets, the calculations, everything. So always remember this thing. Whenever you are creating any dashboard, just save it in the .twbx format. .td, it's nothing but the data extract. So the same way I showed you, so .td and .hyper, they both are similar, but in the latest version we are saying it as a hyperfile. Data source, we can separate this workbook with the data source also. We can simply select .tds and we can use this data source in the further development. Means suppose we want to create 5 reports with the same data source, so one time we can create the data source, connect with data source, and we can connect 5 multiple workbooks with that particular file. Package data source means it contains everything, the metadata, the data source, the logical values, and everything. Tableau bookmark. Bookmark is also used for storing the metadata information. TMS is a map source. It contains the spatial file, the latitude, longitude of that particular locations, and other stuffs can be stored over here. Packaged workbook, as already told, whenever we are creating any dashboard, we can save it in this format, so that in future we want to share it with the end users or maybe another developer. It will be easy for him to fetch the data and to understand the logic and other stuffs. This is just a preference file which we can save or which we can ignore. It's not very compulsory. Okay, let's move to the another session. What are the calculated fields? So suppose we want to create a calculation of profit divided by sales. So you have a facility in the Tableau to create these custom calculations over there. For that, what you need to do, I will try to explain it over the tool itself. The same way, just click on this arrow. There is a field called create calculated field. Just click on that one. Just you need to type sum, because Tableau works on the aggregated field. Profit. So whenever you are typing anything, it's the IDE kind of experience. If you worked on Eclipse and other IDE, it works the similarity. The same thing, sum of sales. Now we can create this as a profit percent. Just apply and okay. So you can see this is a profit percent which is created from this profit and sales wala field. You can simply go over here, drag over there. It will tell you ki theek hai, 12% is a thing which is there. You can always change its format by clicking right click, go to format. There is the number ka section. Just click on that, go to percentage. It converted the value into the percentage. You can format in any way, in single decimal, 1 decimal, 0 decimal, anything will work over it. I hope this will really be helpful for your interview preparation. Let's go to the another part. Okay, what are the LODs? So before moving to this, I just want to explain a single thing. If we already worked on MySQL, in MySQL we worked in group by functions, if you are aware of. So what group by does, it changes the data granularity. Suppose we have category and subcategory wise data, but in one place we just want to see the data category wise. We just want to remove subcategory. We don't want to remove from the data level. We want to remove from the view level, in the Tableau level. So we can use these LODs. So there are 3 types of LODs. One is fixed LOD, another one is exclude, another one is include. I will show you also in the Tableau. So simply go to the calculated field. Just click on this button. It will expand it. Simply type include. So what it does, it computes and aggregated using the specific dimension and the view in the measure. So if you want to aggregate any field according to whatever fields are available over view, suppose here we have a category and subcategory. We have a category, we have a subcategory. In this case, suppose you don't want to consider this subcategory in the view and you want the all result of this should be same as the furniture. So you can just simply write LOD as an include, then the dimension name, whatever is the category, like this, include category colon, then you can simply drag this field over here, close it. So it will aggregate according to the category and subcategory both, because it's an include function. In case you want another thing like fixed, you don't want to consider subcategory over here, you just want to consider whatever is written over here, so you can use this fixed. It will aggregate on the basis of category only, it doesn't consider this subcategory field. So this is a difference. I hope till now I am clear with the level of detail functions also. Let's move to the another part. What are the heat map? So heat map is a representation of the data which uses some color coding technique to represent different values of the data as the marks to heat up due to higher value. Suppose in a particular region we have a higher sales. So what we can do, we can show it as a very green color. So it's very good or eye-catching thing. Whenever anyone open the dashboard, he will see, okay, it's very dark in the color and it's a green color, so it's a profitable thing. And whenever there is a red color, means it's giving some loss kind of a thing. So we can do it over here also. We have negative values, we have a profit and sales only. So we will just try to create a heat map over here. Simply click here, go to the square. See, wherever there is a reddish, or okay, let's change it from here. We went here, we just choose red, green, diverging. Red means the lowest one, we can step it, but we won't apply. Okay, so here darkest green is giving us the highest profit. So it's a 44%, which is the highest one, and whatever is the darkest red, suppose this is minus 8.6%. You can simply see by looking at the color which subcategory is giving us the loss and which subcategory is giving us the highest profit. So this is the power of Tableau. Okay, let's move to the tree map. So whenever we have a hierarchical data, suppose we have a branches, we have a trees, there we can use this tree map kind of thing. So tree map is a visualization that organizes data hierarchically and shows them as a set of nested rectangles. The size and colors of rectangles are representative to the values of the data point they project. Parent rectangle will be the child and their child elements. So it's similar to the heat map, but just a small difference, as I showed you. Okay, this is really a very good topic, and it is a frequently asked question. What is a context filter, and the steps how to create the context filter in the Tableau. So suppose you have a data, the same example I will take, category and subcategory level, and you just want to restrict the data with the category furniture. Suppose you don't want to see other data. So what context filter will do, it will create a temporary table in the backend. And after this creation of the temporary table in the backend, the next filters will work accordingly. So there is a level of operations which happens with the filter. So the first filter which will work as extract filter, then there is a data source level filter, then there is a context filter, and there are different kind of filters, LODs, which works accordingly. So what context filter will do, it will increase the dashboard performance. It will create a temporary table. So the load of the dashboard will get reduced in this particular case. So context filters are applied to the data rows before any other filter works. They are limited to views, but they can be applied on the selected sheets. They define aggregation and deaggregation of the data in the Tableau. And how you can apply the context filter. So suppose you want to fix this view with a context filter as a furniture only. So we simply selected furniture over here. We clicked furniture, and we can simply click this one and add to context. Suppose we applied another filter also on the top of it, and you selected suppose chairs. So you can see over here whatever fields are there inside that subcategory, they are only reflecting over here because of this context filter, and it's filtering accordingly. Let's take another example. Let's apply subcategory filter first. I applied subcategory filter as chairs, bookcase, binders, furnishing, labels, fasters. These 6 on it. Now what I want, I applied one category filter also as a furniture. Now what you want this filters to get executed first, but it's second now. So what you can do, you can simply go here, add to context. What it does, it directly moved it to the context as a first level. So the first level of filter will work as a furniture, then the another level will work as a subcategory. Let's jump to the another part. How to create the context filter, as I already showed you. This is the same steps. Same step. Okay, what are the parameters? So parameters are nothing but the dynamic values. Suppose you have something into database. Suppose x is equals to 4, y is equals to 6. They are pre-built in the data. They will show it accordingly. But suppose you want the user input in the dashboard. You want top n numbers. Suppose user will type 5, user can type 6, user can type 7. So it's just a dynamic value. We can replace it to any constant calculations over the Tableau. How to create parameter, that also I want to show. So simply you can click on this arrow. There is another option called create parameter. So once you will click here, it will ask you to name the parameter like top n, bottom n, something like that. The data type. It's integer, it's float, it's string, it's boolean, it's date and time. What type of data type you want to choose over data type. Now let's come to the another part. What is the current value of the float will be? Either it can be 1, 2, 3, the current values. Suppose you want the user input, but by default what it should be there in the view. Suppose I type 5, the current value. I clicked OK. There is a parameter which created as a parameter 3. I just clicked on the show parameter. So by default value is 5. You can give any value, 10, 12, anything. So accordingly, the filter view will get filtered it out. So it's a dynamic user input we can take. It's a very good functionality, by the way. So what are the different data types in the Tableau? So we have string values, we have numbers, numbers, integers are the same. We have date values, date and time also, boolean, geographic, cluster, or the mixed value. I will try to explain it over here. Let's look at here. So here it's written as ABC. It always represents that this is a string value because it's saying ABC. It's a hierarchical value because it's showing that it's a hierarchy of multiple things. But what these multiple things are, basically their data type is geographic location because they contain some lat long files. Here you are able to see a calendar. It's a date field. So whenever we are seeing this, just a simple calendar, it's a date field. Whenever we are seeing a clock along with this particular calendar, means it's a date and time field. We can change it also. Suppose by default from the DB it is coming as a date, because Tableau is not able to recognize it properly. You can simply go over here, click, change it to date and time. You can always change it. Suppose this is customer name is not a, I understand that it's a string value because its name is suggesting, but suppose it's just written as a customer and it's taking as a string, but it's a customer ID. You can simply go over here, you can click on the number hole. It will change automatically to the numeric value. Yeah. You are able to see this hash function over here. This hash is nothing but it's telling that I am a measure. Anything which is a measurable quantity. Discount of what? Discount of a product, discount in the shop of what? It's a measurable. Dimension can be individual because name doesn't say ki name of discount. It doesn't make any sense. But discount of something makes some sense always. So yeah, these are the data types which we have in the Tableau. Okay, so what is the Tableau dashboard basically? So dashboard is a combination of sheets basically. So whenever we are creating multiple views, we are trying to collate all that view and creating a single dashboard on the top of it. Suppose we created a bar chart, we created a pie chart, we showed the percent distribution of sales, we showed region wise data, we showed profit, we showed loss. Now what we need to, while representing, we need to give it a single shot, single way. A dashboard is a dashboard if it gives the information in a single view. So these are the sheets and this is a dashboard. Suppose I will just duplicate it for now and I simply went over here. I drag these sheets over. So the combination of sheets always creates a dashboard. I hope I'm clear. Cool. Let's jump to the another part, the page shelf. So page shelf always breaks the view into a series of pages. It displays an alternative view on each page. Due to this feature, you can analyze the effect of each field on the rest of the data in the view. So we have a page shelf kind of a thing over here. So if you want to perform any operation with this respect, suppose, then you can simply drag any field over the pages and you can simply see how the bookcase is performing. Then once you will click next, it will show the chairs. Next, then it will give furnishing. So it will just divide this particular view in different segments. So it's easy to interpret, present. It's just a representation structure, nothing else. Story. So the story can be defined as a sheet, which is a collection of series of worksheets and dashboards used to convey the insight. Suppose you created multiple dashboards for any FMCG or any pharma, any organization, and which is just telling, one dashboard is telling the profit loss, one is telling the drill down level. Drill down mechanism matlab we showed the aggregate value on the top, then we are drilling down based on category, then subcategory, then subcategory, something like that. Then you can create a story on the top of it. So the combination of dashboard is known as a story. Like I showed you in the Tableau also, the combination of sheet is a dashboard. The same way the combination of dashboard is a story. So give an overview of the fact dimension of the table. Okay. So the same thing, facts are nothing but the numeric measures of the data. As I said in the earlier, there is a dimension, there is a measure. So measures are nothing but the facts. They are always numeric. They are stored in the fact tables. Fact tables store that type of data that will be analyzed by the dimension tables. As I said, discount of what? Discount of a product, discount of shop. So always they have some association with the dimension tables. Dimensions are descriptive attribute. Those will be stored in the dimension table. For example, customer information as stored, name, number, email ID, something like that. Okay, yeah, this is the main topic. Whenever we are creating any dashboard, it should render in less than 10 seconds. It is the basic practice. So whenever we are creating any dashboard, always remember it should contain only those fields which are required for the development of dashboard. It should not contain unnecessary fields because it will impact the dashboard performance. So whenever you are creating, use an extract to make workbook run faster because live connection is totally dependent on the performance of the data source. It might happen in future that your database might crashes, so your dashboard will also not work properly. It will also show a blank result. So instead of that, you can always go for the extract mode. Reduce the scope of data to decrease the volume of the data. The same thing I told in the initial phase. He always use a reduced data. Whatever fields, whatever headers, whatever data is required, it's not necessary to use 10 years data to get any kind of report. For reporting purpose, you can show 1 or 2 years of a data. Whatever is required, whatever is asked by the business. Always work on fact tables. Don't work on the raw data directly. Reduce the number of marks on the view to avoid information overloaded. So what are the number of marks over here? Let's jump to the Tableau. Whenever we created this view, in the last corner, you can see marks. So 1, 2, 3. Suppose in case I remove this filter, it just converted to 4. I remove this filter, it removed to 17. So the less number of marks, the good is the performance. So if you can apply filters, you can restrict the data anyway, but it should be useful for the business. So you can reduce the number of marks. This is really helpful, really helpful for the performance of the dashboard. Try to use integer or booleans in the calculation, as they are much faster. So instead of true false, you can make it as a 0 or 1, because 0 and 1 is much faster than the true false. Hide unused fields, use context filter. Context filter, I already told you, whenever we are creating any context, it creates a temporary table. Temporary table always increase the performance, improve the performance. And the hide unused fields, I will show you how to unhide it or how to hide it. Suppose we use just 1, 2, 3, 4 fields over here. Other fields are really not required. You can simply go to arrow. You can simply check this hide all unused fields. You can see it automatically reduces the data, and it will give a faster performance to the dashboard. Reduce filter uses and use some alternative way to achieve the same. Suppose you have 17, 18 filters in the dashboard. You can restrict it from the data source level also. Please do it. Use indexing in the table and use the same fields for the filter. This is the backend ka concept. Whenever you are creating any SQL query, custom SQL, always use indexing in the date field especially. Remove unnecessary calculations and sheets. Suppose we created some dashboard over here. This sheet is not required. Simply go and delete it. Okay, this will not get deleted now because it is getting used over here. So whatever sheets are not getting used, you can simply delete it. And how to see which sheets are not getting used? Simply go over here, hide all sheets. Whenever you are hiding, the unnecessary sheets will remain like this. Now you can go over here, you can delete it. It will work perfectly. Let's move to here again. Okay, so these were the best ways. Now, different connection types in the Tableau. There are two types of connection. One is extract and one is live. This I explained in the initial phase. Still, again, I will just try to explain you. So what live connection do? Live connection is always directly connected with the DB. The speed of the dashboard is always dependent on the data source. So if your dashboard needs to be refreshed frequently, suppose it's a GPS kind of a thing, you need to track it every 2 minutes, you need to refresh it every 2 minutes, just go for the live connection. But if your data source needs to be refreshed every 15 minutes or every day or every 1 hour, bi-weekly, anything like that, anything above 15 minutes, always use extract. It is a best practice because it stores the snapshot of the data in the Tableau repository and it works accordingly. What are the different joins in Tableau? So Tableau works same as a SQL. So it supports all possible joins which are there in the SQL, like left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, inner join. The same way whatever is there in the SQL. What is a data modeling? So data modeling is the analysis of data objects that are used in a business or other context and also used as an identification of the relationship among these data objects. It is the first step of doing object-oriented programming. So whenever you are modeling any data for the creation of report, you can simply just understand these points. Okay, what's the dual axis? So dual axis is used to show two measures in a single graph. Suppose you have profit in one axis, you have sales in one axis, and you want to plot it. You can simply show it using this functionality. It allows you to compare two measures at once. Many websites like Indeed also use this dual axis to show the comparison and growth rate. So how your profit is moving, how your sales is moving, something like that. I can show you also if people wants to see. Let's go to product. Let's take one category over here. Let's drag profit. Let's drag sales. And just click over here and make it as a dual axis. Make this mark to bar. Or what we can do, we can simply make it as a line. Yeah, I think this is clear now. So you can see in one axis we have a profit, in one axis we have sales. So how your profit is moving and how your sales is moving. You can sync the axis also. Simply right click over here, synchronize axis. So you can simply see your profit is this much, but your sales is this much. It is giving a comparison. comparative analysis kind of a thing, which you can do using Tableau. Let's move to another part. What is a blended axis? So multiple measures can share a single axis so that all the marks will be shown in a single pane. We can blend multiple measures by dragging the first measure on one axis and second measure also in the existing, means the first axis only. Let's jump over here. You can see, suppose I just remove this one. We have a profit. We have a single axis, right? In the back case, in dual axis, you can see there are different axes over here. One is sum of profit, one is sum of sales. But suppose if you don't want two axes, you want a single number of marks over here. What you can do, you can simply drag this one, put it over here. Now there is only one axis where you are showing both the values, which increase the performance, which is really helpful. But it's automatically synchronized. Here you need not to synchronize everything. It will automatically take the first wala sum of profit axis. Then it works accordingly. I hope I am clear with the dual axis also, blended axis also, and how to create it. That also I showed you over the example. What are the shelves and sets? Every worksheet in the Tableau will have shelves such as columns, rows, marks, filter, pages, and more. By placing filters on the shelf, we can build our own visualization structure. We can control the marks by including or excluding the data. As I showed you, whenever we are dragging any field in the rows, whenever we are dragging any field in the column, in the text, so these are nothing but the shelves. These are the backbone of the visualization tool, that is a BI tool. Now let's jump to the sets. The sets are used to compute a condition on which the data sets will be prepared. Data will be grouped together based on a condition. Fields which is responsible for grouping are known as assets. For example, student having grades more than 70%, they are in the set A. Student having grades more than 80% or more than 60% are in the grade 2, set 2. So these are the things which work like this. Let's move to the another part. What are the marks card in Tableau? There is a card, there is a card to the left of the view where we can drag fields and control mark properties like color, size, type, shape, detail, label, and tooltip. Okay, let's move to the Tableau. It's really easy to explain over here. So this is nothing but the marks card. You can see I can simply drag this measure names to the size, to color, to label, to detail, tooltip, path. So what is use of color? So once I drag this to color, it is showing a legend, a differentiation between the profit and sales. So it's telling ki profit is a blue color, sales is a orange color. Same thing with the size. Suppose I drag this to the size, it will give a different size. Profit with the smallest line, and the sales is have some big width kind of thing. Same thing you can do with the label, detail, tooltip, path. So these are the marks level. Let's jump to this PPT again. Define the published data source. Okay, so when you are ready to make a data source available to other Tableau desktop users, you can publish it to the Tableau server or online, or else you can make it available by saving the same like embedded Excel or a text file. Suppose you have in your organization, there is only one data source with the help of which you need to create all the reports, and there are 10 teams which are working on. So instead of publishing the data source 10 times to the server, you can simply publish that data source to the Tableau repository. After that, anyone from your team can directly connect with the data source without hitting the original DB. So it will just store the snapshot of the data into your Tableau server. Then from your Tableau server, the people can take the data and build the visualization. How to do that? There is an option, just a second. There is an option called server, and there is an option called publish data source. So once you will click over here, you need to click on whatever data source you need to publish it, and it's simply just. Okay, let's move to another part, dual axis. This is the same thing which I showed before. Dual axis is used to show two measures in a single graph. It allows you to compare two measures at once. Many websites, they use this. Okay, what is the difference between tiled and floating of the dashboard? In a tiled layout, items don't overlap. The layout will be adjusted according to the dashboard size. In the floating layout, items can be placed on the some other layers. Floating items can have the fixed position and size. Let's jump to Tableau again. I basically prefer a practical example instead of just a PPT. So let's move over here. So there are two modes over here. One is tiled, one is floating. So whenever you are selecting tile, it won't overlap. Whenever you are dragging second sheet, it will tell you where you want to fix it. Suppose I dragged it over here, it's not overlapping. Let's go back. Let's check what is floating. I just selected floating. I dragged this sheet. I increase the width of this. I again dragged another sheet. I increase. So what it's doing, it is overlapping the before sheet with the next sheet. So this is the difference between floating. So always use tile mode whenever there is a possibility. But whenever you see there are some challenges or there are some use cases by the business where you need to perform the floating, then please go for it. Let's jump to the next part. What is VIZQL in the Tableau? So VIZQL is a visual inquiry language. It is a combination of Viz plus SQL. It is similar to SQL language, but instead of SQL commands, the VIZQL language converts data queries into a visual images. So whatever maps you are seeing, whenever we are creating a line chart, a bar graph, or anything, so Tableau also do some computation in the background. So that background is nothing but these things only, these stuffs only. With the help of VIZQL server, they convert the data into the graphs. It's the best or one of the most important part of the Tableau server. Explain the aggregation, disaggregation of the data in the tab. So the process of summarizing the data and viewing a single numeric value is called aggregation. For example, sum of average salary. So Tableau always aggregate the data with the sum level. It's a by default functionality, but in case you want to do average, you have a facility to do that. Disaggregation, the process of viewing each transition for analyzing all the measure, both dependent and independent, like individual salary transaction of each employee. It's not a something, it's just a separate thing, disaggregation. But aggregation means sum of all the salaries of employees, and disaggregation of each employee. So whenever there is a each symbol, it's a disaggregation, whereas a aggregated level, all salary, it's an aggregation. What is hierarchy in Tableau? So when we are working with large volume of data, incredibly data may be messed. With Tableau, you can easily create hierarchies to keep your data neat. Even you don't need it, it is built into your data, which you can easily manage to organize the data, and you can track the data easily. So let's jump to one sheet. So we created a hierarchy over here. Let's show hidden fields also. So you are able to see this symbol, right? Product. There is a symbol called location also over here. Let's unhide it first. Okay, no problem. So product is a hierarchy which is created by category and subcategory. So to make it more cleaner, I just combined it, or I created a hierarchy. So whenever you are dragging this product over here, there is a plus symbol, which is telling that this field is a hierarchy. So whenever you are clicking this plus, it is showing whatever is inside this hierarchy. It really helps in creating the data source or your dashboard very cleaner. And it's very easy to track also. What is a Tableau Reader? Okay. So Tableau Reader is a free desktop application where you can read and interact with the Tableau packaged workbook. It can only open the files, but cannot create new connection to the workbook. So we have a different products of the Tableau. There is a Tableau desktop, there is a Tableau server, there is Tableau online, and there is a Tableau Reader. So whenever we are creating any Tableau report, Tableau desktop report, you will eventually share with the end users, right? So where you will share it, either by email, either by any server, or any mechanism should be there, right? Where you will publish that dashboard, because directly they cannot. Either they need a Tableau desktop, either they need a Tableau server, or either they need a Tableau Reader. So Tableau Reader is a free thing which can be installed in Tableau desktop and any desktop, any MacBook or any system. There you can just simply open that Tableau workbook, whatever you are creating for giving the visualization. It's free, yes. What is TDE file? So TD is a Tableau desktop which contains a .td extension. It refers to the file to include data extracted from external sources like MS Access or CSV files. So whenever you are creating any dashboard, whenever you are connecting to any flat file, the .td extension will also extract the data of CSV files, MS Access file, and all this, which is now converted to .hyper, as I already told in the initial case. So these two things are same. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope these session or these question answer were really helpful for your interview. All the very best. Thank you.